When people heard that OpenAI and Apple failed to reach a deal, most assumed it was about money, control, or ego. But this wasn't a negotiation breakdown. It was a strategic decision. Because for OpenAI, becoming the intelligence layer inside Siri would have solved a short-term distribution problem, while permanently locking them out of long-term platform power. What looks like a rejection is actually something far more important. OpenAI chose sovereignty over scale. And that decision tells us something unsettling about where computing is heading next. To understand why OpenAI walked away, you have to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a platform architect. On paper, an Apple partnership looks unbeatable. Distribution, trust, billions of devices. But strategically, it's a trap. If OpenAI becomes the brain behind Siri, they don't own the user relationship. Apple does. They don't own distribution. Apple does. They don't own monetization. Apple does. OpenAI would become a high-end utility inside a walled garden. Powerful, essential, and permanently subordinate. By walking away, OpenAI forced Apple into a defensive posture, pushing them toward alternative AI partners. This wasn't about winning a deal. It was about refusing to become someone else's feature. Whether every reported detail about OpenAI's hardware project is accurate almost doesn't matter. What matters is what the project represents, internally referred to as Sweet Pea. This device is designed around a radical idea. What if the next computer doesn't have a screen at all? No apps, no notifications, no endless glass rectangle competing for your attention. Instead, a device that lives with you, listening, understanding context, and acting proactively through voice and ambient awareness. This isn't an accessory to the smartphone. It's an attempt to replace the smartphone as the primary interface to intelligence. And that's why OpenAI couldn't afford to live inside Apple's ecosystem. You can't build the next platform from inside the last one. This isn't about betrayal, it's about incentives, and incentives always win. The same designer who helped make the touchscreen irresistible is now exploring a world where screens fade into the background entirely. OpenAI isn't just experimenting with hardware, they're experimenting with a new operating system, one where intelligence is the interface. In that world, the phone becomes optional, and companies built around the phone suddenly lose their central position. This is how platform shifts actually happen, not through dramatic failure, but through quiet irrelevance. Apple isn't doomed, but they are exposed. OpenAI made a choice that most companies never do. They gave up short-term dominance for long-term control. This isn't a gadget story, it's a platform realignment. And historically, when platforms shift, incumbents don't lose because they failed. They lose because the rules changed underneath them. The real question isn't whether you'll buy the next iPhone, it's whether, in a few years, you'll still need one. When intelligence is no longer something you hold in your hand, but something that lives with you. OpenAI didn't reject Apple because of a deal, they rejected them because of control.